Hi, my name is Annika Smith. I'm going to be summarizing Chapter 8, Ethics, Rights, and Values Without the Heat, from Radical Behaviorism for ABA Practitioner, written by Johnson. Johnson states out in the beginning about ethics, and his definition is simply a label for behavior practitioner within the community that involves how its members deals with one another. He states he wants to also put that influence each other's behavior increase or decrease with it. Social constituencies create ethics standards. An example he gives is if you find a girl in the supermarket, there's no ethic, there's no rule a law how you deal with it. But with ethics, you need to comfort the girl while you're finding the parents. Another example he gives is when someone's doing animal cruelty and how the society or the community deals with that. They usually find that social disapproval in varied forms. Not to mean it's not concerning. Then he goes on about ethics in communities, and basically that's where members who share participation in consequences of reinforcers or punish certain behavior practice. A good example I have is in the Spanish community, if you go to certain family events, you are encouraged to greet everyone with a hug and a kiss on the cheek. Each and one. And if you don't do that, there are certain social consequences of that. Like they'll look at you funny, they'll talk among themselves. That's just an example I put. But the book has when your family comes visit you compared to your friend, how you will be more motivated to clean your room or your house before they come, because you know that they expect a certain way of you behaving. And then we go to rights. Rights is basically verbal behavior. It has no physical status. An example he gives is grandma. And then he goes on, states what rights statement is. And the example he gives is seatbelt. So in the way he said it is put on the seatbelt. The enforcer is saying that the seatbelt will save my life if in a car accident. So the reinforcer is the seatbelt. And then he goes on saying that right statements are allowing us to obtain reinforcers or avoid punishment that maintain our control over assessing such as contingencies. Another example is I have the right to listen to music. I'm saying that my reinforcer is music. Johnson goes on stating that the right doesn't come from the individual, it comes from the ethic community. So, in short, we find support in our rights in the ethic community. The next part is values. And same as the rights, it is a non-physical entity. That our values basically is our behavior in variety environment circumstances. And the example he gives is if you find a wallet, the golden rule, you want people to treat you the same way, so you will want to return it to the shop owner or so that's there that could give it to the person, because if that happened to you, you will want to be able to find your wallet too. Johnson's go on stating that rights and value overlaps in both vertical uses and professional interactions, and he goes on that rights may be clarified, specifies the associated reinforcers, but the reinforcers situation associated with a value uses straightforward. Then he goes on talking about the values in science. In short, approaching values from a behavior perspective creates an opportunity to address value questions in scientific. In other words, should and ought are statements that reinforce and punishes. But in the long run, values are something other than beyond the scientific understanding. With that said, the last section talks about taking the heat out of the argument, and I find myself hard for me to do that, especially when there's more emotional discussions in it. But in short, it's key to getting everyone to agree with valuable statements or learn verbal behavior. With this, fundamentally, it becomes easier to focus on the objective evidence and conclusions of effective in different course of actions. With that said, there's two questions I like to you guys could pick from. The first one is the describing the recommendation tactics for discussing conflict values in ways to avoid emotional arguments and leads to positive resolution. The other one is, can you talk about a situation that you feel ethically was contributing to you interacting that way? Thank you for listening to me.